Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 583 of Screw the Commute podcast. I'm here with Chandler Walker, and he's going to tell us about high ticket sales without being obnoxious and manipulative. And many of the people I've seen over the many years, that's all they do is manipulate and they're obnoxious. So he's going to tell us how to get out of that. So make sure you pick up a copy of our automation ebook. This ebook has allowed me to handle up to 150,000 subscribers and 65,000 customers without pulling my hair out. Actually, just one of the tips in the book, folks, we actually estimated it saved me 7.5 million keystrokes. And this time that I'm not fighting with my computer is spent with customers and prospects, and that's why we make a lot of money around here. So pick up your copy at screwthecommute.com/automate free. This isn't some 3-page piece of crap either. This is a 60, 70-page full-blown ebook showing you all these cheap, free, no-cost, low-cost techniques that I've used over many years. Now, we're still in the middle of our program to help persons with disabilities get scholarships. So I've always thought that internet and digital marketing is perfect for people with disabilities because they not only, they don't have to travel to school to get ripped off by the typical colleges nowadays. They can legitimately work from home and get hired from home. I mean, I've been preaching this for 25 years, that working from home. I've personally worked there 45 years out of my home. Right? So since the pandemic, everybody's saying, oh, you can work from home now. I didn't know that, I guess you can. So that's perfect for them. So if you're interested in being part of this, we've got a GoFundMe campaign for them at imtcva.org. Of course, that'll be in the show notes. Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. /disabilities, and you can see their update videos. 2 of the people in the program are blind. I mean, just very inspiring people. So something you can really be proud to support. All right, let's get to the main event. Chandler Walker is here. Chandler is the creator of a therapeutic driven. We don't hear that too much outside of health shows. A therapeutic driven, psychological based sales system centered around compassion and care. Chandler has taught over 3,000 people in his system of compassion conversations and has the goal to change and redefine the landscape of sales altogether. Chandler, are you ready to screw the commute?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I hate the commute. And in fact, today I woke up, got out of my bed, walked to Starbucks, AKA my kitchen, made my coffee, and then drove all the way across the hallway into my office. And so I am ready and dedicated to saying, screw the commute. Let's do this.
Oh man. Yeah. I've actually been in formal business 45 years, and I actually had a nightclub for 6 years, and I worked, I lived above the nightclub. So technically I had a nightclub in my basement. So that's my history here. I was very intrigued when we crossed paths. And before we get into the high ticket sales and the compassion and everything, you've had some jobs in your career, right? And that's kind of a dirty word around here, but I know people have had them.
Yeah, growing up, I had a sort of interesting experience. I grew up with a bipolar mom, so I had to learn how to communicate well with her and how to take people off super highs and super lows.
Oh man.
And that led me to pursuing a path in university on a path toward biochemistry and molecular biology to eventually get into medical school and into the medical field. And in college, I was basically the person who ran the microbiology lab. I became the TA. I had these jobs all across the university, and then the medical school field, quote unquote, became a job. And ultimately what happened was, though, I got pretty disenfranchised by the system. It was give people pills, hopefully they can be better, but nobody really has any follow through outside of take medication. And that's what really forced me to put myself in a position where I was like, this isn't for me. I'm not going to do this 9 to 5 the rest of my life. And that's when I pivot shifted and just said, screw it, let's go entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And I don't blame you. I actually audited a dental hygiene class just to see, maybe to become a dentist. And I said, no, other than having 35 female dental assistants in the class, this was not for me. I knew that I was not going to be in a little office the rest of my life. So,
Exactly.
then how'd you get into the stockbroker business?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I was necessarily a stockbroker, but I've always had the stocks and crypto and stuff like that I was trading and moving around. And it became, I guess it went from something that I thought I could do to running my business to putting my profits back into stocks and crypto and that environment and creating revenue that essentially doubled up on the profit I was already earning from my business.
And how old were you at this point?
I started doing that when I was about 26 years old. So I consider myself back then, I was just a young, dumb kid who owned his first business and who was moving things around and somehow figured out how to make this whole thing work.
Well, you weren't as dumb as me, because at 23 years old, I bought this nightclub, and I don't know, call me crazy, Chandler, but the biker bar that I bought didn't really appreciate my efforts to turn it into a really nice family restaurant and nightclub. So we were in gunfights and knife fights, bikers trying to kill me. So I understand the dumb young person syndrome.
It's good times.
But I saw a quote somewhere that said, your first year of business, this is a good quote, I felt like a vampire since I never actually saw the sun.
Yeah, it was, and my little sister told me this. She was like 8 or something. She's like, Chandler, I feel like you're a vampire. I was like, why? She's like, because I only see you at night.
Oh,
and it was
my goodness.
I would wake up in this brick and mortar business we had, the first one, and we would wake up at about 4.
And what was it? What was the business?
It was a wellness facility. So
okay.
When I broke off from med school, we opened up this wellness facility focused on
Who's
6 areas of
Who's
wellness.
we?
Myself and my business partner, who's
Okay.
also my significant other. And we
Okay.
haven't killed each other yet. So
All right.
been good. But so we basically opened that thing up. And in the beginning, I didn't really have systems. I was just a kid coming out of a medical environment, and I didn't know how to run a business. So we would get up at 3 or 4 a.m. and then we wouldn't go to bed or get home till like 11 or midnight. And then we would do it all over again. Half the time we would just sleep in the business. And ultimately that kind of crushed us our first year.
I mean, that's kind of opposite of teaching wellness and then tearing your body up, right?
Exactly. And in the medical school environment, I used to say, you know what we're doing? We are killing ourselves to make other people better. We're essentially sacrificing our own health to enter the field of helping others. It's like a misnomer.
Exactly. Yeah. And the stuff talking about pills. I mean, I'm kind of a consumer advocate. We have a TV show in development in Hollywood called Scam Brigade. And oh my God, I think if these pharmaceutical executives weren't pharmaceutical executives, they'd all be in jail. They're just shoving pills down people, and then, oh, well, you got to have another pill to take care of what happened from the first pill. So
yeah, exactly. Everything compounds on itself.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can tell someone to take a pill, but if you tell someone to eat an apple, they're going to get sued. So now malpractice and how happy people are to sue people, it's become a big problem, because now you have to stay within this narrow scope of giving people pills, because that's what's quote unquote studied and quote unquote like the gold standard, versus, hey, maybe you should eat some vegetables. You don't say that, because you're going to get sued. That's not going to cure or solve a problem.
Exactly. So, so I'm looking forward to the end of the year when they announce the 27th booster shot.
The booster on top of the booster on top of the booster.
Yeah. So I can see how that would be for a guy like you. That would be very tough to handle. So how did you transition out of the wellness business?
Yeah. So basically what we did was we ran the wellness business for several years from 2013 till we started transition out the year before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And the year before COVID, actually probably 3 or 4 years before COVID, I felt like we needed a global footprint. And I felt like we needed an online platform to be able to spread our message and to deliver what we do to a global audience. And so I started building our platform to support us in an app, and then via Zoom, and then via modules, and basically a gamified system until what it is today. And so luckily we had the thing complete, and we were producing 60% of our revenue from the online platform before COVID hit. Then the COVID pandemic hit, and we were even more lucky in the fact that I was able to sell the business just before everything got shut down and went to nothing. Basically,
you were lucky. The guy that bought is probably not,
yeah, I was
feeling that way.
Exactly.
Right,
and so
before you go further though, I think we did a couple hundred episodes ago something on gamification. So what techniques of gamifications did you use?
Yeah. So when we think about gamification, what I want to do is apply game theory to be able to create sort of a collective consciousness where people will do something that works for the betterment of the entire group. And
Mm-hmm.
so inside the wellness facility, what we learned was it's not necessarily about making people work out and eat healthy and do the mental health environment and all that. It's about giving them little pieces of it to do and then giving them points for when they do it, and then
Okay.
applying those points to get rewards, applying those rewards to give them community management things or community awards, and then ultimately making people feel like as they did more stuff, they were more connected to the community and they were celebrated by the community, and therefore made them a community leader, and they felt like they were pursuing deeper in the path to the culture of care, as we called it.
Yeah, so you had like a frequent wellness program or something.
Yeah,
They called it
exactly. It's like
freakness.
take
I slipped
frequent
up.
buyers and move it
Yeah.
into frequent wellness.
Yeah. Well, that's great, great, great. And so the rewards were their leadership positions, not, anything financial or anything.
Yeah, so instead of giving them like money and
Mm-hmm.
stuff that's tangible, you give them positions of status. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you think about human beings, yeah, money is important, but status is the most important thing to a person. They want to look good around other people, they want to feel good in their own skin, and they want to feel like they have that ability to say, "Yeah, I'm good. Look at what I did. Look at the award I got." And so once you give people status, and once that status is sort of lifted up by the community, that person becomes a permanent member of that community
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want to leave and lose that status.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's almost like discussion boards when they have senior members, they've made the most posts and got the most upvotes, and they never want to leave after that. Same with membership sites. So,
Exactly.
okay, so you got out by the skin of your teeth right before COVID. Then what?
Yeah. So then at that time, we had the online platform working incredibly well for our wellness program, which is still running. And we grew about 1,800% during the pandemic,
Mm,
which was amazing. And what I figured out during the pandemic was, and during the brick and mortar, was we charged quite a bit for our services. Our program to start in the beginning was like $1,700. And then
mm-hmm.
as we moved into the online program, we moved it up to $3,200 to work with us. And so I had to, along the way, I did over 4,000 sales conversations on my own to sell this thing. And I had coaches and I had people who were helping me. But the problem that I always ran into was people always said, you have to be aggressive. You have to go for the close. You have to force people to make a decision. The call doesn't start until you get to objections. And for me, I felt like the idea that I needed to manipulate people and push them and bully them into making a decision to become well was a misnomer. I was literally living a lie.
You might as well go back to med school.
Exactly. Doing the same thing with pills.
Yeah. Yeah, so I can totally relate to that because my whole thing is I've got one of the highest ticket programs, and it's take it or leave it. I show great value, no pressure. If you can't see the value, okay, that's fine. I'll help you what I can. But it's I've beaten, like, I haven't been beaten in back of the room sales in speeches for over 20 years. And the reason is I show the great value, I give them an entertainment value, and then I actually come through. That's the problem with some people. They can close the sale somehow, but then they don't come through on the back end. So your reputation starts going down.
Yeah, exactly. I think follow through is one of the
Hmm.
biggest problems for entrepreneurs, especially people who are entrepreneurial minded. They want to do anything, they can say anything, but then when they have to follow through, they're just not in order. They don't have their stuff together to make it happen.
Yeah,
So
no, I didn't go to med school, but you call that a sociopath. They'll say and
yeah,
do anything
exactly.
to get what they want, and they think they're smarter than you, but they can be a chameleon. Because I also, like in my anti-scam work, I did a whole webinar on the sociopathic mind in the seminar and webinar business. And yeah, they're chameleons. They'll say and do anything, and they're professional level con people that they can see your weaknesses and subtly attack them. So that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah,
manipulation.
that's manipulation.
So yeah, and the things that I figured out along the way were if we're going to sell a high-end service, we have to have what we do productized and packaged in a way to where it's something that you can pitch that people actually want, seems new, unique, and safe. But more importantly, it came down to three big components to be able to actually display your value and actually speak to a human being in a way to where they're going to say, yeah, I want this. Because if I tell someone you need this, they're like, yeah, well, whatever, you're just a salesperson. But if they say I need this, that's when it
Hmm.
becomes real. And so when we looked at the strategy, the first step is just detaching yourself from the need to sell. Instead of going into this thing, sweating about it and worrying about it and thinking about it and worrying about dropping price, just go in there with the intention to serve this human being that you're trying to work with or that you potentially might work with. And the fact that you change that little bit of your mindset puts you in a place to where you're no longer leaning in. And by definition, with the human condition, when you don't lean in anymore, the other person will want it more because now they're going to chase you. It's the cat and mouse, the law of cat and mouse.
Yeah, in sales parlance, they call that a negative sell. And
Exactly.
but I like it because I can sleep at night. If they don't want it, okay, then I didn't twist anybody's arm, didn't make a jerk of myself, and I'll typically say, it's okay with me. It's not going to change my lifestyle one bit, whether you join or not. I might say it might change yours, but I don't do it. I do a lot of stuff in a humorous way so that people don't feel threatened with
Yeah, funny as money.
it. 4,000 sales conversations. Now, was this before you figured out? Did you attempt to do the other way for a while and then figured out this is not working and I don't feel good? Is that how it worked?
Yeah. So I would do it the way that I do it now. And we took our process and we combined the aspects of what we were doing in the mental health side of things for our wellness business using cognitive behavior therapy, motivational interviewing, acceptance commitment therapy, and a bunch of other psychographic and psychotherapeutic modalities that I applied to my process in sales. And so then I would work with coaches and they would give me these tactics and these things that they told me to do, and I would get into a huge slump and I would be like, I'm getting into this slump because this isn't me. I don't like this. I don't feel good about this. I feel like a horrible person, like bullying these people into making a decision. And so then I would just ditch it and I would move my stuff back in. And then actually what I realized was I just needed to be confident enough in myself to recognize that I was proving my own process every step of the way and disproving their process by trying to install and going into slumps. And ultimately, that's when I started to install our Compassion Conversations program outside of me and into our sales team. And then when it worked with our sales team, I was able to move and install it into other people and teach it to business owners who want to sell a high-end service, but don't want to be aggressive or maybe even hate sales.
Problem is so many people see these other people that appear to be so successful that have hammered people. I wrote an article one time, the top 20 seminar scams. It's been seen hundreds of thousands of times, because I've done 3,000 speeches and I know these people and I know every trick in the book that they pull on people. And they have to be sick because they can't possibly feel good about themselves. A normal person couldn't by the things that they do to people. Now, on the other hand, if you really believe in your product, like I totally believe in mine, because I know that if I let these people go, they're going to get ripped off in some way. So, but I still don't twist their arm, but I know that that's going to happen because nobody's as fanatic as me. I tell people, and this is true, I accidentally threw a teleclass on Thanksgiving because I forgot it was Thanksgiving. So that's fanatic, all right? But I'm fanatic to help them. I could have quit doing this 20 years ago, but I didn't because I love helping these people and I hate seeing them getting ripped off. And so it sounds like you're same kind of guy.
Yeah, exactly. I feel sort of a personal responsibility to what
Mm-hmm.
I sell or don't sell to
Right.
people. And because of that, I have people who come to me who've gone in 6 or 7 different coaching programs, been ripped off by a million different things, didn't get results, or something went wrong. People tend to come to you and feel comfortable confiding in you, and they see you as a leader and someone worth following because you have an ethical process. And for me, it's not about the sale, it's about the relationship. If I can build a relationship with another human being, that relationship is going to be 10 times more powerful than a one-day sale. And because of that, my pipeline isn't just selling on the first day. I don't care if I sell anything on the first day with the person, but I know that eventually that person will buy from me. And because of that, we have a snowball impact in our pipeline to where people are coming back every day. People are coming back and talking to our reps every day, and people want to come back and work with us, and they do come back. So we've even defeated the misnomer that if someone doesn't buy today, they're never coming back. It's not that they're not coming back. They probably just don't like the rep they talked to because they were aggressive and made them feel like they were being sold.
Yeah. And another thing that the sales trainers will all tell you is to qualify people. Now, kind of, I guess I get the idea. You don't want to waste time on people if that's your deal. But I talk to everybody. and people that could never in a million years. I mean, there was some, I quit speaking at this one event because after 10 years, it started going downhill. There was homeless people in the audience. And so, but I still talk to everybody because some of the people who could never afford me were the first people to sing my praises because I was nice to them and gave them as many tips as I could. And so, and you just never know. They'll come back. And some of them, one guy, I mean, his teeth were bad. He was dressed like some kind of ancient hippie with feathers hanging all over him. He was some best-selling author, legitimate best-selling, not just some Amazon category, legitimate best-selling author, plunked down like $9,000 and then bought a system for somebody else. And just because I was the only one that would talk to him at this event. All the other speakers were divas and they thought they were too good. And, oh, we got to get on a plane because we're too good to talk to you. So I just be nice to everybody, and it does come back in spades.
Yeah, it's true. And I always say, don't judge someone based on how they look or what they make, because people get pretty resourceful when they really want something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have someone we talk to on the first day who can't afford it, and they'll save up and come back a year later. They'll save up and come back 6 months later, or they're the person who can't afford it right there. But I think people get too focused on over qualifying and they wreck their pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have a lot more people coming in, and I'd rather have my team talk to a lot more people, because we create that snowball impact where we have people coming back every day and people coming back in droves, and we create a massive pipeline on the back end from this.
Yeah, no, you talked a little bit about detaching from the need to sell, but now another part of your system is becoming a cognitive listener. What does that mean?
Yeah, so we take the cognitive listener idea from the model of cognitive behavior therapy, where we're searching for the core belief. So in typical sales, people tell you, oh, find the pain and just stick the knife and twist it. But in my opinion, it's not enough. And if I do that to someone, if I stick the knife and make them cry, like the misnomer, if they cry, they buy. If I do that to someone, they're in such a panicked state that they're going to ask for a refund.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal isn't to get someone just a disaster crying. My goal is to work to find what is really going on. And in the model of the cognitive questioner, what we do, or the cognitive listener, what we do is we define the external statement, AKA I want to lose weight, AKA I want to get leads. And we work that into what the actual internal belief associated with that is. And the internal belief is usually the deep-seated real meaning behind what's going on. It's insecurity, it's lack of faith, it's no confidence, it's whatever the real reason is. And then we take that and we do what I call connecting the dots. And we connect the dots to the past to understand the pattern of behavior that continues to manifest that's preventing someone from being successful. When you look at in mental health, when you look at someone who has triggers, someone who maybe got beat up as a kid or something, or abused as a child, that creates triggers that follow them the rest of their life. So we need to figure out what these triggers are in someone's business or in someone's life to identify why they can't be successful, to help them realize the problem is much different than what they're thinking. And then at that point, they look to us as someone who's worth listening to because they've never heard of this before.
Yeah, it's pretty similar that people come to me and they say, my website, this one thing needs fixed. And when I look at it, there's like 40 other things that need fixed and they have no idea, so you have to point this out to them because just fixing that one is not serving them. And I don't want their money if they're going to, and plus they're going to rag on me saying, I don't know what I'm doing. If I just fix that one thing and those other 39 things, kill them. So, okay, so that's number 2. Now, number 3, you say creating the model of the challenging leader. What does that mean?
Yeah. So when we look at the model of the challenging leader, my goal isn't to necessarily be Mr. Nice Guy in the whole conversation. My goal is also not to be a jerk or a bully. And so I have to find a good medium. My responsibility is to challenge someone every step of the way so I can mitigate and remove what their objections are and pick away at their wall of sales resistance by the time we get to the end of the call. So then objections don't become a problem. And we look at this as someone comes in and you say, well, what do you have a problem with? Oh, generating leads. Okay, well, what's the problem there? Oh, just generating leads. And we have to chip away at that until it becomes the real issue. Or let's say we get into, okay, well, do you have, let's talk about your business partner. Have they been supportive? Oh no, they don't even know what I'm doing. They're in the background. Okay, well, that's a little bit concerning. Not because I want your business partner on this call or I care about any of that, but because you two are in alignment. And if you're not in alignment, How can you expect a business to be successful? This thing's a marriage. And so we have to challenge them appropriately and effectively in that way to help them recognize that there's an error in what's happening. And the reason we challenge them empathetically in the way I just talked about is because we want them to be able to actually take that in and take it serious rather than thinking that I'm just telling them what to do because I want them to buy my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so by becoming the challenging leader, we learn how to say, hey, well, that's not right. And that might not be the best pathway you're on, or this might not be correct, and move it into a way to where we say, have you ever considered, does this make sense? This might not be the best thing. And so they start to listen to that, and then they start to recognize that that is a problem. And they look to us as the leader who led them there.
Got it. Now, I'm not sure that this applies to your sales system, but I know that you cover the topics of looping feedback and creating your pillow. Does that have something to do with your high ticket sales?
So that's my investment strategy, basically.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, because I know you young folks understand crypto far more than us old farts ever will. So you turned $250 into 50,000?
Yeah. So back when I was about 26, I was looking at Ethereum, and I told my business partner, I was like, hey, we should put a little bit of our profits into this coin. It seems like it's just going to be this platform that has a bunch of stuff built under it. And I think it's going to have it's going to have legs in the future. And she told me, hey, whatever you think, just do it. And so obviously it was all on me to figure out. And at this time, Ethereum was $15 a coin. And so my first purchase, we bought more, but my first purchase was $250, and that turned into 50K as it is now. And so I look back, I'm like, wow, that $15 coin really went crazy. And then I did it again with another one called Litecoin. It was $15 and I bought it, pumped. And now I think it's $136 a coin right now. And so what I started learning was, you have the project like Ethereum. You find the problems with the project. You find congestion, high fees. You find what solves the problem. You figure out the project that makes the most sense. You jump into that early, and then it launches and you can get out and make a significant return. But then the next strategy that you just mentioned was looping feedback. So then I need to take those profits and loop them into something that's going to compound on my profits. So that's when I take what I've earned and I move into what we call decentralized finance. And I earn between 40 and 100% APR on my investment. So now I'm earning off of the crypto, and I'm taking profits on the crypto. Then I'm earning off of the decentralized finance investments to double dip. And then I take all of that and it becomes what I call my pillow. And the pillow is essentially where all of my finances end up. And it's the money that I can spend that's been continuously compounded on top of business profit, crypto profits, and DeFi profits. And now becomes money that I spend that isn't even my own money because I earned it.
All right. So what's the decentralized stuff mean?
Yeah. So it just basically means when you think about your bank and you put your money into a savings account, that's centralized finance. They're holding your money so they can lend it out, but you earn like 0.01% APY if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah. Usually you owe them money.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And so when we look at decentralized finance, you remove the bank. So we remove the bank and I put my money into a protocol on the crypto blockchain. And that money, because the bank's gone now and doesn't need the profitability and all the red tape with the bank, that money will earn me 40%, 20 to 40% APR on certain projects. And so now I can earn this like ridiculous, unbelievable return from DeFi rather than putting my money in a bank. And so DeFi essentially puts the security and the money and everything in your hands versus in the bank's hands.
Now, where'd you learn all that?
Basically trial and error. There's not really a lot of people who teach you how to do this stuff. So I had to learn how to buy, I had to learn how to get my money in there, how to get my money out.
Well, there's your next course.
Exactly. Like how not to get wrecked in crypto.
Did you see in the news about that guy that had bought it like, I don't know, long time ago and lost his key or something? And it was worth, I don't know, millions and millions of dollars and he couldn't get to it?
I did see that. It was like $500 million.
Oh yeah, some outrageous thing.
I was like, oh, poor guy.
Yeah. So now what's Stone Age Fuel? What is that? StoneAgeFuel.com.
Yeah, Stone Age Fuel is basically the over-encompassing brand now. So Stone Age Fuel was the original brick and mortar that we had.
Okay.
Then it became Stone Age Fuel, the online platform. And now Stone Age Fuel essentially holds our sales company, the crypto work we do, the online business, and everything. It's sort of become a shell company, for lack of a better term.
I don't know if you want to use that term. So we got to take a brief sponsor break. When we come back, we're going to ask Chandler what a typical day is like for him. And he's got a 9-step process for you. It's not a 12-step, it's a 9-step. All right. So folks, I don't know, about 24, 25 years ago, I kind of turned the internet marketing guru world on its head, in that guys at my level, mostly guys, were charging 50 or 100 grand up front to teach you what they knew. And I knew a lot of these guys, they rip-offs, and they'd never help you. So I said, that's not fair. That's it's too risky for small business people. So I charged an entry fee that was like 10 times less than those guys were charging. And that kind of made them mad, but I tied my success to your success. So for me to get my 50 grand, you had to net 200 grand. Well, 1,700 students later, people just loved this because they knew I wouldn't disappear on them. And plus, I already said what a fanatic I am in helping small business people. And it's the longest running, most unique, most successful internet and digital marketing mentor program ever. And I triple dog dare anybody to put their program up against mine, and nobody will, because of all the stuff that's included. We have an immersion weekend at the State here in Great Internet Marketing Retreat Center. You get time in our TV studio where we shoot videos for you, edit them, and send them to you when you get home. You have a scholarship to my school, the only licensed dedicated internet marketing school in the country, and lots of other great features. We even finance your entry fee at no interest, because I know that if you do the work, you're gonna make a lot of money. So check that out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And just like Chandler and I have been talking about, you can call me up and I'll answer and we'll talk about it. And if it's good for you, great. If it's not, hey, best of luck to you. All right. So that's greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. All right, let's get back to the main event. We got Chandler Walker here. I really like this guy so far, because he's kind of like myself. He doesn't twist people's arms, and he just provides great value and cares about health and wellness. And I'm just worried that he makes his significant other mad, and she hits him in the chest with a stick, kill a vampire. Found a stake in his chest, but he'll have to take care of that himself. So Chandler, what's a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, a typical day is basically start up with a couple of meetings to make sure like teams managed, staffs managed, things are going well.
And where are you located?
I'm looking Northern Nevada, Reno, Tahoe.
Okay,
area.
and what time zone is that? Is that
Pacific.
changed? Does that ever change?
Yeah, we're in Pacific now. We have daylight savings time.
Okay, Pacific. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And so I'll start the day. Usually I'll look at all of my finances first, like what is money coming in, money coming out, wealth generation, where's the profitability, what are we ultimately earning across the board. And then when I'm done with that, I'll move on to a few meetings with staff, meetings with management, whatever I need to do there. And then I'll move into podcasts. So I have quite a few podcasts I'm booked on until, I don't know, August or September this year.
Now you said your staff does, so you do remote or do employees? What do you do? Contractors?
We'll do a mixture of contractors and employees, kind of depending on what the role is and what we need. Some of our higher level people will be employees. Some of our lower people or our VAs and stuff will be contractors. So a little bit of a mixture.
Okay.
Then I'll go into podcasts, do a bunch of podcasts. And then usually after that, my day is sort of over, and I'll do the best part of my day, which is playing with my 3-year-old daughter. So we'll go hang out, run around, break stuff, whatever we need to do, karate, doesn't matter. Just have a good time.
Now, I mean, in the morning though, do you have any kind of routine? And so many people say they have a routine in the morning.
Yeah, I have a routine. It's short. I'm not a big fan of these like 7-hour long morning routines with 47 different mantras.
Over,
yeah, it's like, it's stressful just getting into that. I don't want that.
One person told me they meditated 3 hours twice a day.
Yeah, it's like, that's 6 hours. What am I going to do with I can't even hang out with my daughter.
Your daughter would be grown up by the time you get done meditating.
That's too much dedication. So yeah, I wake up, I drink a little bit of coffee. I will do a little bit of yoga usually. It's only like 8 or 10 minutes though. I'll eat food and then I'll take a shower and then I'm ready to go to start my day. But for me, it's like, it's simplicity. If my day starts simple, it's going to end simple. If I start it complicated and have 85 mantras and apps and all kinds of crazy stuff, it's complicated. And I really don't like complication in my life.
Got it. So what's this 9-step program you got?
Yeah, so it's the 9-step process to creating compassion conversations. So it's literally our entire script and our entire method for our sales process. We call compassion conversations. If you're interested in that, it's available at 9step.cultureofcare.life. That's .life, not .com. And essentially, my philosophy is you can have the entire thing because people still come back and they want to learn from us.
Yeah, beautiful. So it's 9step.cultureofcare.life, and we'll have that in the show notes for you. And again, thanks for coming on, Chandler. To really relate to what you're saying, because I just don't like. That's why I sleep so well. I'm never screwing anybody over, twisting anybody's arms, and people chasing me around. No lawsuits, no nothing. So love that. So thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And my philosophy is if you take care of people, they'll take care of you. And it's kind of worked out well for us.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's the first vampire we ever had on, too. So,
Exactly.
all right, everybody, we'll catch you all in the next episode. Check out that 9-step program. I know I'm going to at 9step.cultureofcare.life, Life. All right, we'll catch you on the next episode. We'll see you later.